I was having a conversation with my daughter the other day. We were talking about patterns and we were talking about energy and we were talking about the voices in your head and what to do with them. And it was just such an interesting conversation with her. And it had me thinking that the pattern, the habit or the pattern or the way we were kind of raised to deal with our thoughts, especially recently, especially since The Secret, is to just be positive. Just ignore them and they'll go away, or be positive. Just change your thoughts and be positive. But it's interesting because I have found that positivity does not work. It does not stop the voices. It does not change the voices. It does not alter the voices. It does not put me in a better place. All it does is, in some ways, it fuels that negative voice that I have in my head. It's almost like it's just adding fuel to the fire. It's as if the negative voice kind of goes, "You're trying to replace me? You can't replace me. Let me show you how many different ways you cannot replace me." And then it comes back firing with even more negativity. I guess my daughter and I have been creating this because she obviously she's born in a world where things are really hard at the moment. Things are really negative. The shows that she sees on YouTube and Netflix and different things are, most of them are really negative. And they're going to create, if left unchecked, they're going to create a really negative voice inside her head as she gets older. So, what I'm doing is working and making sure that she's aware. She's aware of the negativity. She's aware of the negative voices. She's aware of the negative thoughts that we have. She's aware of the negativity that can happen in her mind and also in the external world, because it is so negative. So many people are so negative about their life and about their experiences, and they often, you see it all the time on different kids shows in Netflix. These kids and also animated characters are putting themselves down all the time. And so I'm constantly reminding her that we live in a world that is designed to program her to negativity, because if they keep her negative, then she's easily controllable. Whereas someone who's in their power is not as easily controllable. And so I guess that's kind of where this conversation came from, because I have been making sure that she's aware of the negative external world. Gosh, must have been since she was about 2, and she's 10 now. So I've been sharing this information with her for 8 years, and she's just really acutely aware and makes amazing choices of what she's going to watch. If something starts to turn negative, she'll just turn it off. And she'll say, "I don't want to watch that anymore. It doesn't make me feel very good about myself." I mean, I wish I knew this stuff when I was a kid, right? Instead of being in my 40s and finally learning about all this information. However, it kind of reminds me, or she reminds me, because I'm teaching her how to move about a world that is designed. It really is designed to make you feel bad about yourself. I'm teaching her how to move about the world, and knowing that what is on her inside is vastly more important than what is on the outside. Understanding that if she stays connected and true to herself, and she keeps following what her heart desires, and she keeps following the truth, and not what the external world tells her, the actual truth. And I'm teaching her how to tune into the truth and how to recognize a lie based on how she feels, because that's what it's all based on. And this is what I really come to understand, is that if we're moving about the world and you're feeling amazing and aligned and connected, then you're living in truth. However, if you're moving about the world and you feel bad, you feel negative, you feel depressed, you feel sad, you feel angry, you feel frustrated, you feel a sense of malaise or apathy or any of those sorts of things, then you're living a lie. And our role, if we choose to accept it, is to recognize that we're living a lie and to find out what that truth is. And the truth comes from going inside, going internal, spending time inside yourself in silence, which is not that easy to do. I know we live in this really busy world. However, I thought I had so much stuff to do. I was so busy. And then one day, quite a while ago, I went, okay, what if I don't pick up my phone for a week? What if I actually don't pick up my phone? What if I don't turn the computer on unless I absolutely have to. And so I went through a week of not picking up my phone, and it was remarkable. I found an extra 3 hours a day to sit in silence and to go within and to spend time inside myself and to spend time feeling and hearing and learning more about the truth and connecting more to the truth, because I was spending so much time on YouTube and on my phone, sending text messages, making phone calls, on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Reddit, searching on Google for all these different things. It is amazing how much time these things take up, and you don't realize until you actually take a moment to go, you know what, I'm not going to get on these platforms this week. And so I invite you, if you think you're busy, I invite you, and if you think you don't have even 10 minutes to sit in silence throughout the day, to hear the truth, to ask for the truth, then I'm inviting you to put your phone down and to not pick it up for a week. And the invitation, if you are addicted to your phone and you are addicted to the hits that the phone gives you, then what you're already getting is a reaction to it. And it's an internal reaction. And if you feel bad in any way, then you are living your life based on a lie. And the phone is feeding the lie. And this is what I realized, was that the phone was feeding the lie. My computer was feeding the lie. And that does not mean do not go to work, do not check your phone. You can check your phone. Most of us have phones where if you pick it up, it'll vibrate if there's a message. So I can just pick up my phone, it'll vibrate. I know there's a message, so I'll check it. Or if I pick it up and it does not vibrate, I know there's not a message, so I put it back down again. I always keep my phone on silent. And then there's probably a part in most of our brains that goes, but what about an emergency? What if something happens? What if people need to contact me? And I look at that and go, well, hang on a minute. If you're in a movie cinema, do you have your phone on ring? What if there's an emergency and you're in the movie cinema for an hour and a half or 2 hours watching a movie? Or if you go out to dinner and you decide not to have your phone on and you put it in your bag and it's on silent for 2 hours, what if there's an emergency? Do you not check your phone every 5 minutes? Do you check your phone every 5 minutes when you're in the cinema? Or do you check your phone every 5 minutes when you're out to dinner with friends and you're having a good time? You don't. You put it in your bag and you put it on silent, and then you check it at the end. And so this is my invitation to you, is to use that exactly the same way, is to put your phone down, pick it up once an hour, check it. Have it on silent, pick it up and check it if you need to, because you need to feed that pattern, because there's such an addiction to that pattern, to picking up the phone. But here's the invitation, is to recognize, is to see the pattern that is convincing you that you need to pick up the phone in case there's an emergency. You need to check online. What if someone messaged you on Facebook? What if there's an Instagram message you have to reply to? It's all of this, and it feeds that negativity. It feeds the negative festival in our brain. And as my daughter said, you don't want to surrender to it. You don't want to give into it, because otherwise it takes over. And when people talk about surrendering, we're not talking about surrendering to your mind. It's surrendering to the universe, surrendering to creation, or surrendering to God, if that's what you believe in. Surrendering to that higher power, that's where you surrender. You're not surrendering to the thoughts in your mind. But you're also not fighting against them, because if you fight them, like anything, if you fight something, it will fight back and your mind will fight back. However, if you sit as an observer and you watch your thoughts pass you by, you hold space for them. You can even say, I'm holding space for this pattern right now, because every thought that you're having is a pattern inside your physical body that is being triggered in that moment. And most of us over time have learned to believe that that thought, that voice in our head is real, that it's true. However, it's not real and it's not true. It's a pattern. It's a pattern that has been created, and it's a lie. And you know it's a lie because generally those thoughts create feelings that do not make us feel very good. And if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, that's not true, I say, just take today. I invite you today, the day that you're watching this, to sit and listen to your thoughts and to notice how you feel. Just notice how you feel. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to change it. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to think positively. Simply notice how you feel and have a look and go, at the end of the day, did I spend the day feeling good about myself, or did I spend the day feeling bad about myself? And if you spent the day feeling bad about yourself, then I would guess that you are living your life based on a series of lies and a series of patterns that have been programmed into your being that you don't even realize are there yet. Yet. I say yet because we can all recognize that we have patterns. We can all sit and look at them. We can all get to know them. We can even get to the point where we surrender them so much that they actually no longer exist inside our bodies. I know that for a fact because I've surrendered so many patterns that there are now things that happen where I no longer react to, that I used to react to all the time. But the trigger, the pattern that created the trigger is no longer there. It's gone. And so what I'm left with now is no reaction. I can do things that used to trigger me and make me feel bad, and now I have no reaction at all. There's no feeling. There's no bad feeling. There's no good feeling. It just is what it is. I'm not walking around my days jumping up and down with joy, but I'm not depressed and sad either. I'm spend a fair chunk of my time walking around through life going, it is what it is. And I'm okay with that. I'm actually in a space of complete acceptance for a lot of things that are happening. There are still definitely things that trigger me. However, for the most part, most of my day, I walk around in a space of acceptance of what is. And I mean, that's a whole other video, which I will do. But we spend so much time fighting what is, and the patterns feed the fight. That's what they do. And the external world is there as a mirror to all the patterns and all the triggers that are inside our physical body. And to me, the external world is almost like fuel to the fire. There's already a fire burning inside. And if you're not aware of it, the external world is simply going to keep throwing fuel on that fire until you become aware of it. Because then once you can become aware of it, you go through a process of being aware of it and accepting it and acknowledging it and loving it. You go through this process until you get to a point where you can surrender it. And then once you surrender it, the external world doesn't show that to you anymore because the trigger no longer exists. The pattern is no longer there to create an emotional trigger. So you don't have an emotional response. You no longer have a vibrational attraction to that thing. So it doesn't pop up anymore. It just doesn't happen. And so my invitation to you, after all that, based on what my daughter said, is to put down your phone for a week. Just do it for a week. At the end of the week, you can pick it straight back up again. Only use it when you absolutely have to, but put it down. And in those times when you feel you need to pick it up, pay attention to how you feel. What is that feeling that is causing you to pick up your phone? What is that feeling that is causing you to want to look at your phone? And what are you wanting to look at? Are you wanting to check to see if someone called, or are you wanting to check Facebook or Instagram or watch a YouTube video? What are you picking your phone up for? And the invitation is simply to pay attention, not to do anything about it, but for right now, just pay attention. Because if you can spend 1 week paying attention to how you feel, I guarantee by the end of the week, you'll be vastly more aware of yourself than what you are right now. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.